Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, the growing disputes over humanitarian aid going into Gaza, as Israel says the United Nations is trying to blame the Jewish state for the crisis, and the UN is relying on Hamas for protection. A potential threat to Christians and religious believers in Canada. If a proposed new law is passed, they could be arrested for publicly sharing their views on gender and sexuality. Texas facing the worst wildfire in its history, and the fires are still burning, destroying hundreds of buildings. We're going to take a look at how CBN's Operation Blessing is on the scene to provide some much-needed items during this natural disaster. And a pastor's gracious response after a truck crashes into his church building, and how a neighboring church helped out. All those stories and more ahead today, right here on CBN NewsWatch.
This is CBN NewsWatch.
We begin this half hour with the war between Israel and Hamas, where the United Nations calls the food situation in the Gaza Strip catastrophic. But as Chris Mitchell reports, Israel says the UN is trying to make it the scapegoat for this crisis.
UN officials say not enough food is getting in to the more than 2 million Gazans.
We have enough food to feed the entire population of Gaza. That food at the moment is outside the Gaza Strip. We need land crossings, we need access to get it into Gaza, whether in the southern parts of the Gaza or the northern part of Gaza, because the situation is catastrophic.
However, Israel says record amounts of humanitarian aid are getting into Gaza, the equivalent of 3 pounds of food per person per day.
There are no limits on incoming aid, and in fact there is excess capacity at the Israeli crossings, both Kerem Shalom, where goods enter Gaza directly, and Nitzana. And the best evidence of that excess capacity is that last week we hit a record 277 aid trucks a day, with 255 entering yesterday.
Levy says the problem is distribution inside Gaza and the UN relying on Hamas for protection.
The UN is struggling to distribute aid at the pace that Israel is letting it in. And the reason is that the UN relies on UNRWA, which is a Hamas front. That is why aid is piling up undistributed on the Gazan side of the crossing.
Observers on the group posting this video said to show Hamas commandeering aid trucks entering Gaza. Meanwhile, Houthi attacks on Red Sea and Gulf of Aden shipping intensifying as a missile strike on a ship killed 2 crew members. This just days after an attack resulted in the sinking of a commercial ship. And on Capitol Hill, hostage family members met with lawmakers to plead for the release of their loved ones from Hamas captivity.
We call on our president and all the parties involved to do whatever they can to bring our loved ones back home. I hope to believe that my fellow U.S. citizens remember the fact that there are 8 U.S. hostages.
Hopes for a deal to free the remaining hostages are fading since Hamas is refusing terms agreed to by the U.S. and Israel.
And Chris Mitchell is with us now from Jerusalem with more. Chris, the debate over humanitarian aid going into Gaza has become a major sticking point between the Biden administration and Israel. How is Israel hoping to resolve this?
Well, Ephraim, I think what they're trying to do is trying to get the story and trying to make sure that Israel isn't the scapegoat of what they say is the UN inability within Gaza to distribute the aid that's getting inside. And as he said, there's a record number of trucks that are getting into Gaza. The question is, and the problem is, once it gets inside, it seems like Hamas can steal up to 60% of that aid going in, and that it really doesn't get to the people that really needs to. So it's really a question of perception, and it seems like Israel has been bearing the brunt of the criticism from the U.S. administration, from the United Nations. I think that was in part the reason for some of the food drops, the airdrops. It's symbolic in nature, but it was one attempt to maybe make the point that Israel's not doing that aid, but Israel is saying they're doing whatever they can, and there's no limit to the kind of aid they want to get into Gaza.
Chris, a Washington Post columnist says that the Biden White House may try to prevent Israel from using U.S. weapons when it goes into Rafah. What would be the Israel response to that?
Well, I think there would be a big gulp, Ephraim. I mean, that's pretty severe if they're going to restrict the use of U.S. munitions in this attack on Rafah. Ever since the beginning of the war, Ephraim, there's been an attempt in here within Israel to make sure that Israel has their own supply chain of munitions and not necessarily depend on the United States or any other country, but in particular the United States. So I think that would really restrict the ability of the IDF to go into Rafah if they can't use, precision-guided missiles or or bombs, from the Israel Air Force. So it would, severely restrict the ability of the Israel to go into Rafah, and it really represents one more ratcheting up of this tension between Israel and the United States.
Israeli War Cabinet member Benny Gantz made an unexpected visit to Washington this week. How is that being received?
Well, you could look at it two ways. First of all, here in Israel, you can see it from a political point of view. Prime Minister Netanyahu really didn't want Benny Gantz to go to the United States. He made the comment out loud in public. It said there's only one prime minister. So he didn't want necessarily Benny Gantz representing the war cabinet or the Israeli government. In fact, he said there was going to be no security provided for Gantz. He had to pay for the trip by himself. On the other hand, apparently he received a very cold reception from Vice President Kamala Harris, from National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan. So it seemed like he was getting the message from the Biden administration in terms of the humanitarian aid, in terms of protecting civilians in Gaza, a very frosty reception. So that's sort of going forward, and here we are on the eve of Ramadan, some of the message that are being sent to the Israeli government.
Speaking of Ramadan, Israel has been hoping for a slowdown in the fighting in Gaza before the Islamic holy month begins. Does that appear to be realistic now?
Well, they very well may try to delay this incursion into Rafah because of Ramadan, which is typically and historically a time of increased violence and increased terror attacks. It starts this Sunday Eve on March 10th, and there's a lot of anticipation here in Jerusalem as well from the anticipation of possible increased terror attacks and about violence on the Temple Mount. That's happened last year, and it's happened historically. So they're trying to make sure that Ramadan will be a time of peace and not a time of terror and violence like it has been historically.
Former U.S. Ambassador to Israel David Friedman has offered a peace plan for the Middle East. What is it, and could we see it going into effect if President Trump were to win the White House again?
Ephraim, I was at the NRB just a few days ago in Nashville, and actually that's when former U.S. Ambassador to Israel David Friedman released this plan. And actually that very night, President Trump appeared at the NRB, and actually they appeared on stage. So going forward, if Trump was reelected, it's possible that that deal could be implemented. You may remember that Trump introduced what's called the deal of the century. And there's many points in the deal of the century and Ambassador Friedman's plan that are very similar. The difference is, for one, he's calling for sovereignty, Israeli sovereignty over Judea and Samaria, known as the West Bank. He's also calling for Palestinians to receive permanent residency. However, they can't vote in national elections. He looks at the examples of Puerto Rico and Guam, where that's been implemented. But it's a very bold plan, and if President Trump gets reelected, we may see the Friedman plan trying to be introduced here in Israel.
All right, Chris Mitchell from Jerusalem, thank you as always for your insights. We continue to pray that you and the entire team there stay safe in Israel. Coming up, Christians in Canada could potentially be arrested for publicly sharing their views on biblical sexuality if a proposed law is passed. We're going to hear from an expert about that situation when we come back. You're watching CBN NewsWatch.
Get your daily quick start from CBN News. A quick read on the important news of the day delivered right to your inbox. Stay current on breaking news, politics, and entertainment. Go to quickstart.news and subscribe today.
Christians who publicly share a biblical view on gender and sexuality would potentially face arrest if a proposed bill in Canada becomes law. The bill under consideration is known as C-367. Advocates say the intent of the legislation is to combat anti-Semitism. However, appearing on this week's episode of The Global Lane, International Christian Concern President Jeff King contends the proposed law is designed to intentionally suppress the speech of Christians and other people of faith.
Been a whole series of bad laws passed previously in Canada that brought forward hate speech laws. Always a bad idea in democracy. It's always a way to protect a special interest group and to actually attack political opponents. So basically, the hate speech laws that were passed previously, the Christians were told to be, hey, calm down, everything's fine. There's protections for you in there. And those protections revolved around free speech and religious thought. And so basically, if the Bible says this, if the Quran says this, and you're saying, you know, something based on that, you're protected. That's religious free speech. This bill, believe it or not, just like was tried to pass in the United States, the Equality Act, this bill would dismantle those protections. It's a monstrous step back for religious freedom. It's a dismantling of religious freedom in Canada.
Well, this bill had a first reading in the House of Commons, I believe, last November. So where does it stand at this point? It seems stalled a bit.
Well, we're in the sausage making, so it's where is anybody's guess? Basically, if Trudeau supporters get behind it, it'll move forward. The whole idea is to bring enough press to this. Most people are asleep. They don't even know what's going on. So the whole idea is to bring enough press to this, to wake people up, to shout, to call their representatives, and to do more if they have to. Because what will happen is if the bill is exposed and what it's really trying to do, the members should back off.
Well, we all want to protect people from hate crimes, whether they're LGBTQ, Jews, Muslims, Christians, but you believe this goes too far. It wasn't too long ago. Remember, the churches were ordered closed. Police arrested pastors like Tim Stevens in Calgary for keeping his church open during COVID. Truckers saw their bank accounts frozen when they staged a protest in Ottawa and the Ambassador Bridge. And then Catholic high school student, remember him, Josh Alexander, he was expelled for sharing biblical views of transgenderism. So what do you believe is going on right now with freedom in Canada?
Well, look, I said it, I'll say it again. These laws don't come about by accident. They're not accidentally bad laws. They're typically dreamed up, in the bowels of a political party, and it smells of Banana Republic. I'm telling you, these things are used to put knives into the hands of one political party to attack their enemies. That's exactly what will happen. And people who believe in religious freedom, who believe in democracy, atheist, agnostic, left, right, it doesn't matter. You should be alarmed. These laws always protect us from one another. And that's what, in the U.S., that's what our founders saw so clearly. We all, at a very base level, need to be protected from one another because we will attack those who are different. And it doesn't matter if you're left or right, or it's just human nature. And so those laws, and especially the religious freedom laws, are so potent. They're such a potent force for democracy. They're enshrined. They have to be protected. They have to be guarded.
And you're concerned about those political views drifting south of the border, right here to the USA. Most people would say, well, that's Canada. That couldn't possibly happen in the United States. We have a constitutional guarantee of religious freedom here. So what are the chances similar laws could be implemented right here in the good old USA?
Well, Gary, it's 100% because it was already tried with the Equality Act under the Biden administration. Complete nightmare, the exact same strategy. And let me tell you how this goes. I've been doing religious freedom around the world for 20 years, and so I'm familiar with every game that every Marxist dictator or despot tries or Islamic radical tries. So these laws, it's always this. Out of one side of the mouth, the politician says, we have religious freedom in our country. Oh, please. And those laws stand on the books, but they're ignored because, on the other hand, on the other side of their mouth, what they say is, we have religious freedom, but that's for your own home. Get out of the public square. That's exactly what happens under Xi and China and Vietnam, all these places, the worst places for religious freedom, including North Korea. There's no place in the public square. You can think about your Christianity. You can practice it in your own home. Don't spread it. Don't share it. Everything will be fine. You see, we have religious freedom.
Well, I can't let you go without asking you about your new book on that subject matter, The Whisper, Lessons of Renewal Whispered from the Prison of the Persecuted. It's a 30-day devotional. Tell us more.
Well, this book really started, I was called to the work of the persecuted in ICC 20-some years ago, and the Lord kept whispering to me. He basically was telling me to listen and to learn the teachings of the persecuted. He said they had lessons of great importance, and it wasn't for me. I was to shout them to the church, and it took me a very long time to understand them. But once I did, I've been shouting those things, and this is in the form of a devotional. And those lessons, those life-changing lessons, are encapsulated into stories of the persecuted and embedded in a 30-day devotional.
Okay, Jeff King, president of ICC, that's International Christian Concern. It's good talking with you again, Jeff. We always appreciate the work you do. God bless you.
Thank you, Gary.
Also in this week's episode of The Global Lane, Venezuelan migrant gangs bring crime and violence to American cities, and a look at the UN agency discriminating against Pakistan Christian refugees. You can catch The Global Lane this evening on the CBN News Channel. It begins at 8 Eastern. You can also see it on the CBN News app, or you can watch it on YouTube. Still ahead, the massive wildfires in Texas, including the largest in the state's history, burning well over 1 million acres and still going. We're going to show you how CBN's Operation Blessing is on the scene to provide help. Got the story for you right after this. Wildfires are still burning in the Texas Panhandle, including the largest in the state's history. The flames have consumed hundreds of structures, and cattle ranchers have been hit hard, possibly losing thousands from their herds. As Wendy Griffith reports, CBN's Operation Blessing is on hand, helping them with basic needs.
The Smokehouse Creek fire, which so far has claimed 2 lives and destroyed dozens of homes and buildings, is the largest fire in the state's history, consuming nearly 1.3 million acres. Many residents had to flee for their lives.
I had to leave, and then I had to drive through fire to get out of there. I was going to die.
Satellite images capturing the billows of smoke from the blazes, fueled by high winds and dry conditions. The fires moved so fast, ranchers had little time to get their cattle to safety. Thousands of cows were killed. In Shellytown, workers had the grim task of moving dozens of dead animals.
We have about a little over 1,000 cows here. As you can see behind us, we're picking up deads today. By the time it's all said and done, we're going to have lost probably 200 to 250 head, and that's just cows. We were right in the middle of calving season. I've spent the last 15 years building this cow herd up, and you can lose it overnight. But we've been very blessed and very fortunate that we've only going to lose 200, you know.
The fires also spread through the small panhandle town of Borger, Texas. This pastor had to house some of his congregants at the church when the fires got close.
They had to actually live up in our fellowship hall for a few days while they were getting everything straight, what happened with their house and everything. What we originally felt about it was that we've got to find a way to be the hands and feet of Jesus and to be the church in this situation and not just come to church.
CBN's Operation Blessing is working with several churches in the area to get basic needs to people, including food and water, hygiene kits, EMS care kits, rakes, shovels, cleanup supplies, clothing, batteries, and emergency meal kits. Pastor Shields says Operation Blessing is showing the love of Jesus to those who are suffering.
It means a lot to have support of different organizations that come, like Operation Blessing and things like this, to come and support, these communities in this time of need and this time of devastation, you could call it, I think, and because it shows that, people do care and people, do want to help.
Officials have yet to determine a cause of the fire, but some residents have filed suit against a local power company, claiming downed power lines played a part. Meanwhile, firefighters are hoping rain in the forecast this week will give them the upper hand against the flames. Wendy Griffith, CBN News.
You can learn more about what Operation Blessing is doing in Texas and how you can help by going online to ob.org. Coming up, a truck crashes into a church building in North Carolina. We're going to see how the pastor reacted and how another church in the area stepped in to help. We've got the story for you when we come back.
Download the CBN News app, 24/7 news from a Christian perspective at home or on the road. One place for all of your news. Breaking news alerts. Set daily prayer goals and pray for news stories. Read the most important news and watch CBN News Channel live. CBN News, because truth matters. Go to cbnnewsapp.com to get the app today.
A North Carolina pastor is showing grace in moments of hardship after a truck driver lost control, crashing a big rig into his church building. The pastor of Ecclesia Pentecostal was at his home only yards away when he heard the commotion. He rushed to the scene and helped the stunned driver get out of the truck. While heartbroken by the scene of destruction, the pastor offered forgiveness to the driver who had just destroyed his building. A nearby church opened up its building for the devastated congregation. They'll be able to hold Sunday services there as long as their church is deemed unsafe. The pastor of the damaged church says he knows the Lord will provide. Time now for your Thursday Thankful, and today I hope you'll join me in this prayer of gratitude and take courage in its truth. God, thank you. My history doesn't dictate my destiny. Your love wipes the slate clean daily with new grace and mercy, sufficient for the day. And to that, may we all say amen and amen, and make this a Thursday filled with thanksgiving and gratitude. Well, that will do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. You can always find more of our news programs on the CBN News channel. You can find them there at any time, as well as online at cbnnews.com. Take a moment, let us know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can email us, newswatch@cbn.com. You can also reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hope you'll join us again right back here, same time tomorrow. Goodbye, God bless, and thank you for watching.